What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to this week's Bourbon of the Week, or in this case, Rye Day Friday, where we're switching up the content for you here at the end of September. We're going to get back into our normal reviews into October, but for right now, we're bringing you Rye Day Friday. This is Pikesville Rye. This comes highly recommended from the Bourbon Van, and the reason that we're doing a lot more of these ryes, at least I want to, is because the Black Bourbon family, Jason and Brandy, if you don't know them, make sure you check them out. They tagged me in a rye video, 5 ryes that you need, and this was a while ago. And if you can see behind me, for the most part, I don't have that many ryes. So I want to make sure I try a bunch of them. I want to make sure I give you the best video that I can put out with my experience with rye. I have a few here so far. This will be my third that we're doing for Rye Day Friday, but I got a couple more behind me that I do want to get on the list. So let's try this Pikesville Rye out, but everybody knows before we get started on all of that, time for the traditional sip. All right, that's good. So here we go. This is Rye Day Friday. Basically, we're not going to rank any of the bourbons that we have in our collection for ryes. What we're going to do is just kind of talk about them, see what we like, see what we don't like. And this is Pikesville Rye. This is a 6-year, 110 proof rye. Comes in at 51% rye, 39% corn, which leaves us with what? 10% malted barley. 51% rye is right over that mark that allows it to be a rye. As you know, it's got to be at least 51% corn to be a bourbon, at least 51% rye to be a rye. 39% corn is going to still give us that sweetness that I think that we're going to look for. I've started to love high ryes and even rye bourbons in general, but that corn, that sweetness from the corn is still very important for my particular palate. I love the spiciness that a rye gives you, but I don't know if I would love like a 95% rye or anything like that. This coming in right at that 51% rye mark, but still giving us that 39% corn, really lends me to believe that I'm going to love this bottle a lot. And right off the rip here, I can tell you that I do. 110 proof, 6-year, out of Heaven Hill Distillery. Not really much that you cannot like about this product. At 110 proof, it sips very easy. We talk about drinkability all the time on this channel. That's how much ethanol kick that you get compared to the proof on some of these. Now, I've had some 80 proof bourbons that taste like 90 proof bourbons. I've had some 110 proof bourbons or ryes that taste like 90, 95 proof. This definitely does not sip like 100 proof. We just did on my last episode, I blind tasted Old Tub. We drank 100 proof bottled and bond bourbon, didn't even think it was above the 90s. So the fact that this can be 110 and still drink in what seems to be that 90-ish area is absolutely fantastic. Now the tasting notes on this is why I absolutely love ryes. The spice on this is fantastic. You get like an allspice, you get like a black pepper note, definitely some type of, maybe like a little bit of cinnamon as well. Like all those spices blend so well, but the sweetness on this, being that 39% corn, you still get like a fruity note with this, like a fruit sweetness with this, that actually blends this together so well. And it's one thing that Heaven Hill Distillery does so well is their blending process and putting these bourbons and ryes together in a way that like I don't think a lot of smaller distilleries have the capability of doing unless they bring in a master distiller or a master blender from one of these bigger distilleries, which is what a lot of these guys are doing. They're getting these people who have been in the industry for very long, like New Riff. They're making waves in the community, by the way, if you haven't heard. They have a master blender there, and they put out amazing product. This one, though, coming out of Heaven Hill Distillery, is just so well balanced and so well put together that there's nothing that you can't really pick out anything that you don't like unless you don't like rye bourbons. If you don't like the spiciness of a rye or anything like that. And the big note that I get on this personally is like a cherry note. It almost reminds me of like an Old Forester almost, with that cherry note being so predominant. But it's just like, even on the nose, if I've smelled some, you know, we have like Stag Junior, which is taking it up a notch to like 130 some proof, or even like I talked about the Elijah Craig barrel proofs. When you nose those, you immediately get this ethanol kick, and it's not always off-putting, don't get me wrong. If you're talking about 120, 130 proof bourbon, you're going to get an ethanol kick with this. This being 110 proof, it doesn't really give you much of an ethanol kick at all. On drinkability, this would get an amazing score on our normal Bourbon of the Week stuff, but I absolutely love the drinkability on this. The taste is fantastic, like I already mentioned. So well blended, so well put together. And at MSRP, I think I picked this up at $55, $55 to $60, somewhere in that range. It's been a while. Got it in New Jersey. I think it MSRP is around that $50 mark. So for $50, 110 proof bourbon, a high rye, not even a high rye, an actual rye bourbon. You know, rye is more expensive than corn, which usually ups the price a little bit. There's not much about this bottle that you shouldn't like. And for that reason, I might pick this. Currently, I've only had 2 or 3 rye. We have had 2 on the episode. I've only had 2 or 3 outside of that in my own personal collection. Now, the way that I'm doing this is I'm going to bars. I'm trying out ryes at bars that I can find before I go out and I buy the bottle, because that's kind of how I got into bourbon myself. I went to my wife's stepfather's house. He has a whole bunch of bourbon. I got to try them for free. I didn't have to pay for an entire bottle to find out that I didn't like it. And from there, I kind of, tweaked things to my particular palate and picked things that I thought that I would like, and some things that I knew I wouldn't, just so I could experience those things as well. But for ryes, I don't really have that opportunity. I don't really have somebody that is already collecting ryes to really sit down and try them. So what I've been doing is I've been going to the bars. I've been trying these ryes that I can find, deciding I like the lower end of the rye proof spectrum when it comes to like that 51% rye seems to be in my wheelhouse. Now, I'm not fully versed into the rye world, so I can't guarantee that won't change. But what I can tell you is I love a high proof or a high rye bourbon. High rye, medium proof is where I found myself. So this being a high proof, high rye and being so fantastic really kind of allows me to step into that next realm of the rye world. So with this, I have like a Sazerac rye as well that I want to try. We have a few more behind me that we're going to get into Rye Day Friday before we put out our list, because I don't want to just be like, hey, I bought these 5 ryes, try them out. What else do I have? I have Wild Turkey rye. Can guarantee you that will probably be on the list as well, and we'll definitely get to that another day, because that is a fantastic rye as well, especially for the price. So at $50, 51%, 110 proof, this coming out of Heaven Hill Distillery, I don't want to say that I love it, because I am upset with Heaven Hill Distillery right now and the way that they're treating their employees, but I do love this bottle of bourbon, and if you can find it, make sure you pick this bottle of bourbon up, because this might rank above bottle of rye, because this might rank above a lot of the bottles of bourbon that I've already reviewed, and it's a 51% rye, so it's a little late to change the name. We already got coasters. We've already got things on the wall that say Bourbon of the Week. We already have merch, and we have Glencairns as well that say Bourbon of the Week. But if we could, we might become a rye channel, strictly off this Pikesville rye. Absolutely fantastic. Make sure you pick up this bottle. We're going to keep these short. We're going to keep these simple. That's it for this week's Rye of the Week, Rye Day Friday. Make sure you check me out on Instagram at Bourbon of the Week. We do a lot of giveaways and stuff like that. Also, if you want to support me, make sure you check out the Patreon channel and join us on Discord so you can talk bourbon 24/7 with me and a bunch of my friends on there. In the meantime, stay healthy, stay happy, stay drinking. Cheers, y'all.